So I watched the Deemo movie. It's not very good. First, a spoiler warning. I'm basically going to spoil all of the movie and the game in this video. You have 1 second to click away to not get spoiled. 1. Alright, let's begin. Deemo Memorial Keys, the first and only rhythm game movie that exists on Earth. At least as of this video's release date, and to my knowledge. Not too sure what happened to that DDR movie that was teased once. We were robbed. Okay, so while editing this video, I looked up DDR movie and I found this. It's not by Konami, but you have this entire movie that's about DDR, so Deemo Memorial Keys might not be the first rhythm game movie if this is counted. But I don't know, let me know down in the comments if you want me to, watch it. I'll give a quick refresher on Deemo just in case you forgot everything about Deemo, which everyone has at this point, or you have never touched the game before in your life. Deemo is a mobile rhythm game by Rayark. It was first released in 2013 for Android and iOS. It was pretty popular back in the day too, but I mean, it's not like you had any other option back then. Like, there were literally no other good original games. What in the world is this? So yeah, it was really not hard for Rayark's games, mainly Citus 1 and Deemo, to be the only choices you have for mobile rhythm gaming. But you know what other choice you have? Bai, for your Japanese shopping needs. This video is sponsored by Bai, a Japanese proxy service. I said this a ton of times already, but basically, a proxy service is this magical thing that helps you get an item that you can't normally get shipped to you. That thing that you want from Japan Yahoo auctions, but the seller doesn't ship outside of Japan? No problem, just buy it through Bai. What happens instead is that the seller will ship the item to Bai's warehouse, and then Bai ships it to you. But other things you can do with Bai is consolidate your packages. So if you bought multiple items, you can actually ask them to pack it into one giant package to ship to you in one go. So overall, it'll save on shipping. Bai supports buying from Amazon.jp, Rakuten, Mercari, Yahoo Japan Shopping, and Yahoo Japan Auction. So buy the things you want from Japan with Bai today. Use the link in my description for 10% off your first purchase when you sign up. And now, back to the video. The gameplay was really simple. Notes come down to a line and then you tap it when it reaches that line. There aren't even any holds in the game. They just have these slide things. The goal of the game is to grow a tree in the middle of the room by playing more songs. As you reach height milestones, you unlock cutscenes that tell a story. You can also find out more lore details by moving between rooms and clicking on objects or characters to hear their thoughts or dialogue. The entire game was really simple and straightforward, from the UI to the character designs, all the way to, well, in the original game, the story begins with a scene where a little girl named Alice falls down a window and winds up in a mysterious place. She meets Deemo, a giant stickman that's basically the gentle giant in this story. Deemo is a pianist who plays the piano in the middle of the room, and sometime later after he finishes playing a piano piece on it, both him and Alice notice a plant sprouting from the ground in front of it. From that, they theorize that by playing more piano pieces, the plant will grow up into a tall tree that Alice can climb and get back home through the window that she fell from. In the game, you meet other characters, such as the Masked Lady, an antagonist against Alice, who, at the end, actually did try to stop Alice from leaving. But she gets stopped by Deemo. She eventually relents and lets Alice climb the stairway to freedom. As Alice reaches the top of the staircase, Deemo plays a piano piece and Alice finally remembers her older brother, Hans, who died in a car accident saving her, and that this entire place was in her own head. And Deemo was kind of like her brother in her head. Climbing the tree and leaving the place was actually her literally coming back to reality, and to the reality that her brother is no longer around anymore. At the end of it all, she wakes up in a hospital room. It's a pretty sad story. Sure, while it's not the most elaborate one, it still does make me feel sad each and every time I rewatch the story cutscenes. I was just a little kid when I followed the story, so my old memories of it might be what makes me look at the story of this game like it's a huge masterpiece, like way better than it actually is. But just a gentle reminder, when this game came out, it was during a time when nobody expected there to be a story in their mobile rhythm games. Heck, we were already lucky enough if the game was good. And I guess the ending hit way harder because the direction of the story was a little unexpected. Though to be honest, it's actually a little obvious if you thought hard enough at the context clues in the game. The game originally released with the story stopping at the midway point, where the tree gets huge and Alice celebrates, and then the credits roll. We didn't know the end to the story and the backstory till a year later when they released the conclusion. So everyone at the time just thought it was a simple story about a girl who lands in a mysterious place and works hard to leave. Sure, we all had our questions like, who is Deemo? Who is the Masked Lady? Why does she want to stop Alice from leaving? What's going to happen when Alice goes home? So yeah, it wasn't completely expected that the story was going to be a sad one till the very end. And boy, did the feels hit. The game has bangers in the soundtrack in general, and the art of the little girl and Deemo are really cute. The style and the theme of the game was really nice to look at. Everything was really cozy while keeping a sense of mystique. Deemo was a huge part of my childhood, outside of Cytus 1 and Osu, and it will always be something that I'll look back with a ton of nostalgia. So, right, the movie adaptation. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is how the movie production meeting went.
Okay, we're gonna make a Deemo movie. We have to make it good.
Yeah, let's stick as much to the source material to make the fans happy.
Right, that's right, the fans are important.
So how long is the original story without the credits?
8.5 minutes.
What?
I have no idea how they managed to make this almost 90 minutes, but they did. I remember when people were pretty hyped for the movie when it was first announced back in 2019, but then when it actually did come out, everyone just forgot about it. I mean, since it was announced, my hair changed colors like what, 4 times? But anyway, Deemo Memorial Keys is a 89-minute 3D animated movie produced by Production IG and Signal MD. So let's start with the positives first. I really like the soundtrack. I remember feeling legitimately good and happy when I heard an arrangement of 9.8 and feeling hyped as shit when Anima was playing. Vibing to the music and wondering what they were going to play next was like all the fun I got from the movie. But then again, good soundtrack is to be expected from a rhythm game. Well, there was one scene that was pretty cute. Oh, I love you, Deemo. I'm no pianist, so I can't really tell, but I think they actually animated the hands hitting the keys properly. And I also like the... So on to the negatives. Okay, I'm really sorry, but this movie doesn't look very good. I can't remember if I've said this anywhere before, but the models inside Deemo Reborn, which by the way is the PC port of the game, flat out look better than the ones in the movie. The animation is also pretty stiff. Characters don't look like they are moving naturally or with any energy at all. Some shots can look pretty weird, like shots of certain facial expressions or, well, whatever this is. But okay, I mean, I'm nitpicking here. Going into this, I knew the movie was going to look like this ages ago. It already looked pretty lackluster in the trailers, and trailers are supposed to show the best that a show or movie can offer. So it's not really a surprise that the entire movie looks like that. And I also can't imagine that the studio had a lot of budget for this movie in the first place. But goodness, I wish that was my only complaint about it. So there are a few things that are original to only the movie that were added. In the game story, you're always in this dream or coma world. But then in the movie, they cut between these real world scenes and then the setting inside the game. With the real scenes being completely new and original, which meant that they had to add new characters. Namely, 2 classmates called Sanya and I have no idea what her name is, and then the piano teacher, Professor Valinsky. Other original characters were also added to the dream world, namely the Nutcracker and Fragrant Sachet. They are really annoying, but I'll get to that later. Honestly, I can see why all of these were added, because otherwise the film would be completely silent, except for Alice talking sometimes, and the masked lady being a bitch to her like all the time, to which... just play Deemo Reborn. And this is 100% done to pad out the movie runtime. All of this wouldn't have been so bad if the new parts they added were good, but it's not. So in the real world, Alice is an amnesiac, which is a little bit like the start of the game, but this one is in the real world. So she's great at piano, and then there's these 2 side characters who want to be friends with her. In the later parts of the movie, they find her playing a song on the piano that she never finishes. And that's because she can't remember the rest of the song. They bond with her over the song. They help her try to finish writing the rest of the song with what they know and trying to guess the composer's intentions. And honestly, there's like other scenes that show them attempting to befriend Alice, but I didn't care about them. Like, they were a huge drag to sit through, and basically nothing much happened. And then at the end of the real world sequence, Alice plays that song in the piano room, and then Professor Valinsky spawns into the room and drops exposition that right after the car accident, she began to suppress all her memories about her brother and that he adopted her. And her response to all that was this.
一人だったから怖かったんです。でも今は相談に乗ってくれる友達ができて、アリス。
She was traumatized to the point of suppressing all her memories of her brother because she was afraid of being alone. And it's fine now because she's not alone anymore because she has friends. What? Okay, I mean, don't get me wrong. Friends and a support group does help with grief so much. But somehow, I feel like the way this movie handled it was so bad. It felt dismissive. Like, it's not like the conclusion didn't make sense. It just didn't feel earned in the slightest. And then the movie ends with Alice deciding that she can move on. She stands on stage at a piano recital that I think Hans was supposed to be the one doing years ago. And then credits roll. I don't know, this just feels like a slap in the face. But anyway, that's enough for the real world sequence. That's basically all that happened. Let's just move on to the better part of the movie. The beauty of the original Deemo story was that it was a little open to interpretation. You could have easily thought that Alice was in a coma because she tried jumping and then she winded up in purgatory. Well, at least till that theory got debunked apparently. A lot of the game's story was show and not tell. I mean, there's literally no dialogue in the original story's cutscenes, which come to think... Oh my god, please shut up. The Nutcracker, Catboy, and this ugly-ass fairy is the single worst thing to ever happen in the movie. The movie actually stands somewhat well on its own. It's blatantly obvious to tell what's happening, but no, they had to add these characters that speak to basically narrate everything as if the producers were expecting the audience to be severely brain damaged. It happens so often that it reaches the point of interrupting scenes instead of adding onto them. Like,
届かない。
はしごがあれば届くかもしれぬでござるな。あの高さじゃ無理だろ。
you don't say!
こりゃいいや。
Wow, how glad am I to know that you like this.
やふー、また大きくなったぜ。Beauty!
I don't give a shit. They're trying to pad out runtime like this, right? There were points in the movie where I felt good watching it actually. Like when a nice song comes on, but then these nut jobs have to say something and then completely take me out of the moment and then ruin it. I really wish these characters didn't exist. But anyway, moving along with what else was changed in the dream world setting compared to the original game. They did add a few things and changed others, like apparently the fact that only Deemo and Alice can play the piano in the room. You see the masked lady try and then get nothing at one point, and that only she, Deemo, and Alice are able to see notes on the sheet music. The masked lady has more scenes to herself, which made it painfully obvious by the middle of the movie that she was Alice's alter ego of some sort. It's not a bad thing, but I wish they didn't spell it out that obviously. In the game, there were two problems that Deemo and Alice faced. The first one was that the tree stopped growing past 20 meters. They solved this problem by finding a key that unlocked another section of the world where they could continue growing the tree, well, I think it's the same tree, up to 40 meters. The second problem they faced was a somewhat direct confrontation with Celia, the masked lady. She gets stopped by her, but then only for Deemo to tell the masked lady to fuck off. In the movie, all of this doesn't happen. Basically what happens instead is that Celia goes up to Alice and gives her this tainted piano piece that essentially destroys the tree when Deemo plays it. I don't really understand what happened here, but it's the one time that the three narrators shut up. Like, Deemo just goes sicko mode and the tree gets destroyed. Anyway, they make up by making Celia play with Deemo and then the tree grows back and bigger. The key on the bookshelf was also changed. Now the locked room's key is gigantic and across this thin bridge that Celia and Alice has to cross together. They take the key and cue the destruction movement sequence.
それはいいから早く捕まって。
Where did the key go?
あの鍵が抜かれたら動く仕掛けだったんだよ。
Oh, it's back. That's a really convenient way to end the scene. Okay, but I'm not going to lie. I really like this entire sequence. Anima playing in the background got me so hype. And I think it's the only other time where you don't get interrupted by the toys about how amazing or exciting the song playing right now is. So, they unlock the final room. And there, Deemo plays the second piano and Alice goes home while having the accident flashbacks. And then also the reveal that Celia or the masked lady is Alice. You know, in the original game, when I saw the accident, I was like, oh, that's so sad. Wow, the story is heartbreaking. What a tragic accident and a thing to happen to such a small little girl.
Alice, 危ない!
I'm sorry. I laughed. And that wraps up everything that happens in the movie. I feel like the pacing of the events in the dream world would have come across better if it wasn't constantly getting interrupted here and there by the scenes in the real world. The dream world would build up to something good going, and then the energy would be immediately cut short by switching to the real world instead. The real world is just overall really, really boring and extremely anticlimactic. In fact, they even used a flash forward for the friendship building part, which made the final thing Alice says about moving on from her brother fall extra flat. Overall, shorts go on for too long, some things just don't make sense, the models and animations look terrible. I'm not even sure who the target audience of this movie is. Is it children? Or is it pandering to the fans of the game? I mean, it's not the worst movie on earth, but it is painfully boring, even infuriating at times. You know how there's movies out there that you can tell that it was made by a bunch of passionate artists and writers, but then it got messed up somewhere in the middle of production because of middling middle managers, editors, or people in the suits? This movie is not one of them. I don't think they gave a shit from start to finish. There's a Deemo movie NFT, and Rayark started using AI art to replace their in-house artists in Citus 2. People say that this company went to shit recently because of the AI stuff, but I think there were a lot of other signs that this company wasn't too great in the first place for a long while, and it's only been going downhill since. But my expectations were probably just too high. It seems that the first written game movie is just not good. And I'll see you guys next week. It is so satisfying to keep doing.